Nation, it's October 21st, 2015. It is Back to the Future Day if that's your thing. If that's not your thing, well, it's Hump Day, Opposite Day, maybe just Wednesday, but either way, let's talk about the world today. And the first thing I want to talk about today is bad news for Yahoo and also any fanboy that's like, no, my favorite series got canceled on TV, maybe someone online will save it. Yahoo revealed today that they lost $42 million during the time they were producing Community, as well as two of their other original series, Sin City Saints and Other Space. Apparently they realized really early on they were just not gonna make their money back and it was going to be a big loss. But he did add, we're not saying we're not going to do this at all, but we are saying in these three cases at least it didn't work the way we hoped it would, and we've decided to move on. But I do want to note, Yahoo is a very different deal. They're just not known for being in this space. When you think of this space, you think of Netflix. And honestly, not even just Netflix anymore. I feel like Amazon Prime and Hulu have actually done a pretty decent job. I mean, Amazon, you have Transparent, you have Hand of God, oh my god, Catastrophe is amazing. Hulu's actually done a great job too. They have Billy Eichner's original series, Difficult People, really funny. They've also got me coming back every Tuesday because of the Mindy Project. And I honestly think the difference here is that Community for Yahoo is an outlier. It's not what they do. It was a test, granted a $42 million test, but a test. The other guys do it. And so Nation, I pass that question on to you. And we're talking in a legal sense. Legally, how do you consume TV and movies online? Are you a big Netflix fan, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Sling TV, HBO Now, HBO Go? I'd love to know what you use and what your favorite things are. And a big thing I want to know, because it relates to this next story, is just because I say Yahoo failed here and that, you know, there are certain places where things work, that doesn't mean that people and companies should never try new things. If you do not innovate, you die. And the most recent place to test this will actually be YouTube. Even though there had been murmuring before, YouTube has now officially announced YouTube Red. Not RedTube, that is a completely different website. YouTube Red. This is the company's ad-free offering with special perks. And it's going to be a huge test to see what people are willing to pay because the service is reportedly $9.99 a month. And what that just under $10 buys you is an ad-free experience for video on demand as well as live streaming on YouTube. You'll also be able to save videos for offline playback if you want to watch, let's say, that source-fed podcast. It's an hour long. You'll be able to save it to your device and you'll be able to watch it on like a plane. You'll also have background audio play on mobile. And of course, because Google loves to combine their properties, sometimes fantastically, sometimes in ways that are just terrible, by getting this subscription, you also get a Google Play Music subscription. If you already had one of those, you already get a free YouTube Red subscription. Personally, I don't have a lot of faith in this, but I am more than happy to be proved wrong. Personally, if I was running this program at YouTube, I would do the Apple model. Offer it for free for 3 months, let people forget that they're paying for it, and then boom, people either love the service and they stick with it, or they forget about it and they give you some more money. I live in this world as a cynic, I make my content like a cynic. Most of the time, I never really rely on actual old school ads. The reason why merchandise and in-show sponsors have been such a big deal. I make content for the people like myself and the friends I keep. Those friends that I keep love ad block. Why? Because my generation, the generations that have come after it, have just gotten used to not having to pay or wait or do anything. They get, they put out, they get, they put out. Anything that gets in the way of that and is not part of that thing. But once again, I would be more than happy to be proved wrong here. And from there, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, sponsored by not a damn person. But if you're one of those people that has been hounding me for a sports shirt for the next 3 days, these are available. People posting themselves wearing this shirt at sporting events, they have no idea what's going on. That's possibly my favorite thing this year. So grab yours while you can. They're in a bunch of different colors. And the first bit of awesome is that the directors of Aladdin finally sat down to address theories and rumors. Some examples: yes, the lamp peddler at the beginning of Aladdin is in fact the genie. They always intended to reveal it, but then they just cut it. Also, was the movie supposed to be set in Baghdad? Turns out, yes, they had a jumbled anagram of Baghdad, added an R, boom, Agrabah. And there are a bunch of other interesting ones if you want to check that out. Then I gotta pimp out the awesome that is Rich McCord. He's a photographer and he has a series where he takes famous landmarks and he changes them by using paper cutouts. Things like this, and the whore that is a giant French Lego man. Definitely check him out. And of course, because today is Back to the Future Day, I included a bunch of videos around that. And Bethesda released another Fallout 4 video, and November 10th cannot come soon enough. Also gotta give that love to fellow tuber Tyler Oakley. His book came out today. Also gotta give him extra love because reportedly he did not use a ghostwriter. Not bashing tubers that use ghostwriters, I'm just saying props. And of course, if you want to check out any of those things, any of the stories I talk about today, or maybe even our final bit of awesome, the secret link of the day, beware before you click that. I feel like I have to constantly remind you guys when you're like, oh, I can't believe you. Sometimes it's tame, sometimes it's not. But no matter what, if you do want to check that out, links as always in the description down below, or always at todayinawesome.com. DeFranco.com. Then if you have an iPhone, rejoice! iOS 9.1 is here, and well, it includes a small change to live photos where it senses when you pick your phone up to take a picture. The main thing is you finally get the taco emoji and the burrito emoji, as well as, of course, the unicorn emoji and so much more. Now, thanks to just emojis, you can say that you ate a bunch of money, which caused you to poop out a unicorn, that you brought to your local synagogue, where your unicorn got sick because it was stung by a scorpion. So you had to kill the unicorn with a bow and arrow and hockey sticks, make tacos, burritos, and of course, hot dogs. Then, in professional athletes doing stupid shit news, according to TMZ Sports, running backs Fred Jackson and Marshawn Lynch were drag racing outside the Seahawks training facility. Unfortunately for Fred Jackson, he crashed his Corvette into a planter box and then finally a stop sign. And reportedly, right after Fred Jackson crashed, Richard Sherman and a bunch of other players rushed to make sure he was okay, while Marshawn Lynch seemingly drove away from the incident. Which I think really just confirms what we all knew. Nothing can stop beast mode except injuries and bad play calling. Also the St. Louis Rams in week 1. Then we had singer ZENDAYA in the news today, not because she was just on the cover of Modelista magazine. And she looked gorgeous in the candid teaser pics before everything was posted. But once ZENDAYA saw what she looked like in the magazine, she was shocked. And on her Instagram, she posted a side-by-side of the raw picture versus what was actually in the magazine. You have some obvious things, like the photo was overblown, so they added some color to the picture, some saturation. But they also photoshopped her torso and thighs to be thinner. 19-year-old ZENDAYA posting, "These are the things that make women self-conscious, that create unrealistic ideals of beauty that we have. Anyone who knows who I am knows I stand for honest and pure self-love." Then in "Are you the worst person in the world" news, remember this Hungarian camerawoman that tripped a refugee running for his life with his child in his hands? Well, the backstory is that happened. The international community became outraged. She was then fired from her job. She then apologized, but also said she did it out of fear for her life. And now this woman, Petra Laszlo, is suing, saying she's suing not only Facebook for allegedly refusing to remove threatening groups on the site while deleting groups that supported her, but also suing Osama Mohsen, a Syrian refugee who had a child in his arms that she kicked and tripped. Yes, really. And she says the reason for this is he changed his testimony because he initially blamed the police. Lady, what are you talking about? In the heat of the moment, he most likely thought the police hit him and that's why he fell. He was running from them, then he fell. Why would he initially believe, oh, that camera woman, she's the one that attacked me? You're on camera tripping him, his child tumbling face first into the grass. You're on camera kicking 2 other people, including a child. Wow, like we already knew that you were a piece of garbage, but now we know that you're a stupid piece of garbage. Then, in one of the weirdest things I've heard of recently, let's talk about Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. In an address to the World Zionist Congress in Jerusalem yesterday, he said Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time. He wanted to expel the Jews. And Haj Amin al-Husseini, who was president of the Supreme Muslim Council from 1922 to 1937, said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them, Hitler asked. Husseini said, burn them. What? Did the Israeli Prime Minister just try to make super uber Nazi Hitler not as bad of a guy because it was actually a Muslim's fault? You know who else liked revising and changing what actually happened in history? Hitler. He tried to make everything seem like the Jews' fault. Even leading Israeli historian Tab Segev told the Times, even entertaining the idea that Hitler needed to be guided to the decision to exterminate the Jews is entirely absurd. And while one can surely say that Husseini was a war criminal, one cannot say Hitler needed his advice. Historians pointing out that 2 months before the two even met, the Nazis murdered 34,000 Jews at Babi Yar. So a non-Holocaust analogy would be Husseini was trying to convince Hitler to buy a car that he already bought. Then even Germany chimed in and they were like, whoa, 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 purely Germany was responsible for the Holocaust. Essentially saying, what the fuck are you talking about, Netanyahu? The official quote is, all Germans know the history of the murderous race mania of the Nazis that led to the break with civilization that was the Holocaust. This is taught in German schools for good reason. It must never be forgotten. We know that responsibility for this crime against humanity is German and very much our own. And this is just your daily example of why history is so important. People will always try to manipulate the world around them to suit what they're going for. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. Also, if you're not 100% filled in, I posted a different kind of vlog video over at youtube.com/PhillyD today. I think maybe some of you could use the message. Also today, just because I feel like doing it, let's give away an Xbox One. All you have to be is be subscribed, maybe hit that like button, but definitely leave a comment in the comments down below. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces and I'll see you tomorrow. I just sat down, I didn't know where I wanted to start, I didn't know where I wanted to begin, and I just wrote, and here is that.
Whatever he had last week, I got. But I think I got it worse, because I have a really high fever.